Hi, welcome to the second postpartum workout video. Today we will be focusing on glutes, lower back, and upper back. And if you are looking to modify it for a first time, I would suggest that you leave out the upper back exercise or the glute exercise, which are the two harder ones. The lower back one is a relatively easy one. So you can either do a warm up and then skip over 5 minutes to get started for the rest of the workout. Or what you can do is follow me all the way up through the end of the lower back one and then just skip over to the cool down. If you're looking for more of a challenge, what you can do is continue all the workouts up to the cool down with me, but then instead of finishing it off, just rewind back to the first 5 minutes and you can repeat the middle three sets of exercises to get in, a little more oomph if you really want to challenge yourself a bit more. Okay, so we're going to start with 5 minutes of warm up of just walking. Don't worry about what your stomach is doing. Just focus on your posture really, which the two go hand in hand, but I don't want you to be exercising your abs just yet. I just want you to be warming up and maybe being conscious of where your shoulders are or just how you're stepping. So don't worry too much about what your stomach is doing. Let's just walk, okay? So let's get started. You can just swing your arms side to side, walk like you normally would during your day. Possibly just roll your shoulders back as if you're pinching a pencil between your shoulder blades. If walking like this even is too much for you to start with, or you're worried about getting too much into the workout and you want to modify from the beginning, you can just lightly lift your heels off. You can even do it very slowly. This might be the start of your warm-up. Your whole workout could look like this. You are going to work your way up to normal walking. We're going to do this for 10 more seconds, and then we're going to be doing little hop jogs side to side, or you can modify it. Okay, so you're either going to be hopping with a little bit of arm movement, or if hopping, especially with your legs further apart, is way beyond you right now, what you can do is you can either step it a little bit, or you can just shift your weight from side to side. No matter where you start from this, you can progress to maybe taking little baby steps, to faster baby steps, to actual hop jumps. And to do this for 15 more seconds, and then we're going to do the same thing running forward and back. So now, forward and back, you can alternate legs. You can do 30 seconds on your right leg, which is what I'm doing right now. So we're going to be switching to lead with the left leg in 10 more seconds. And if this is harder for you, then this whole time you could just be stepping back and forth. Now we're leading with the other leg. Like I said, you could be switching it up. Or you could be doing 2 forward, 2 back. So you're doing little runs. I just want you to really be moving forward and back in whatever way feels good for you. So don't worry about keeping up with certain steps. My whole point is just to move you forward and backwards in the room. Okay, now we're going to be doing skater jumps. Last part of the warm-up. This is where you are getting to. If this is not where you're starting off, you might modify to just doing something like this with a slight lean forward. You might just be over here. Then you can move on to slightly bigger steps. You want your foot behind you, but you're still not leaning too much. You're not moving too fast. And then You might just be stepping it out. To actually doing them. 10 more seconds, and then we're going to take a little break so you can collect your materials. Okay, now you're going to need two objects for these workouts. One is something long that's a little above knee high. It could be a folded yoga mat, it could be a baseball bat, it could be a hamper, it could be a long umbrella. The other objects is just any small thing you have on hand to use as a guide. You can use a weight if you're looking to challenge yourself, or you can do what I'm doing, just use a stuffed animal that was near you. This is also a good time to take some water because we're going to be getting started with the hardest part of the workouts right now. So if you're not looking for a big challenge, I suggest you sit this one out and then pick back up after we do this series. So grab your object. Make sure you engage your stomach, so blow out that air, right? Force it out. Make sure you're not pulling in. You're not pulling up, you're pulling in. Your legs are more than hip distance apart. Engage. And you're going to squat down. And we're doing this. We're just leaning forward. Like I said, this might be the hardest part for you. You might not be able to hold any muscles in at this point. So if you can at least engage while going a little bit up, and then see if you can lower down ever so slightly. You might be here. If you're not even at this point, you can join us by just doing this. You can do a little wobble back and forth if you'd like. We're doing this for 15 more seconds. You're bending like a hinge at your waist. You're not rolling your back forward. Okay, and now this is going to be a very hard exercise. That's why I said you can skip this one. In this series, you're going to have engagement, right? Not pulling up. This is important because this will also test your balance. So the full workout will look like this, where you're can be holding on to something if you'd like. I'm just on one leg, and then we're going to switch. Or if you're not there, it might just be sitting back a little bit with your foot on the ground. This might be it. You're holding your engagement here or slightly balancing like this before you even squat. So if you're going to be here, then just maybe put your foot out in front of you if that's easier for you. Just hold that engagement with a slight bend in the other leg for another 10 seconds. Make sure you're not hunching forward, so roll your shoulders back, engage your stomach. You can do it for 5 more seconds. 2, 1, switch legs. So again, you might be here, or you might be right here, and you're just holding it in. You are holding that engagement in as tight as you can for another 15 seconds. 5 more. Okay, now you're going to be doing kickbacks. So you can hold on to something, or you can just use your balance. Holding on obviously is easier. And what we'll be doing is you'll be kicking back. Just like this. So if this is hard for you, you can't lift that leg because that engagement is way too much for you. Maybe you're just standing here like this. Maybe that is it. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, then you can balance by not holding on to anything, just standing like this. If you want to balance a little bit more, and the exercise is to just kick back. This is a glute exercise. You want to get that kick in, but you can work your way up to that. The important thing is to first get your abs engaged. I'm going to do one more and switch sides. I want to keep that engagement. If you need to, you can keep a hand on your stomach. And we have one more exercise in this series, and the glutes are done. So also when you're doing this, you don't want to be all wonky. You want your hips straight. And then lifting up like that. Lifting up the back leg. Okay? Next, we will be doing a squat. So again, engage, engage. Pull in all your muscles. Go down. And we'll be slightly side to side. Notice my whole body is moving. This is not an upper body exercise. You're not waving your neck around. You're using your pure leg strength. Might not be there. You might just be holding on to your squat. You might just be here. Just wiggling your butt a little bit. You can also do that. If this feels like you're losing the engagement, then just stand up and wait for me to finish. We have 10 more seconds here, and then the glute part is finished. We'll be doing lower back next. Now, if you did have a yoga mat before, or any other kind of long object near you, that was the time to use it. We are using this just as a prop. We're not really using this for weight. We want to keep our alignment in check. So make sure you engage, engage. You have that tightness. And if you're ready, we're going to just gently touch it to the side. This is so you don't go twisting all different ways. You don't go beyond a limited range of motion. It's really just to get your abs engaged while twisting. There really is no modification for this exercise because it's such a light one. But if you are having trouble keeping the engagement after even the first one of them, you might be taking longer breaks, might be letting your air out, sucking it back in, and you just might be standing here and holding it for a little while we continue working out. Okay, and the next one will be leaning forward. So maybe this is it for you. Maybe you're just using that prop. Maybe you're leaning forward a little bit more. These are called good mornings. So you want to keep your engagement. Your feet are about hip distance apart or slightly more. This is not a big flexibility contest. It's to work out your lower back while keeping the engagement. A lot of times as you lean forward with the straight back, it gets harder because gravity is working against your stomach. So you want to keep that stomach pulled in tight while you're leaning forward. If you want to progress to beyond using the object, you can have your hands on your hips. You don't want to be walking all over the place, so that having an object also keeps us a little steadier. So you want to have that engagement and you want to just be doing this. Okay. Now we're going to be sliding, so find your little weight again. And we're going to be sliding it up and down your leg. You're really using this as a guide, so you're not just, flopping around all over the place, but you're staying close to your leg. This will be crunching the side muscle over here while keeping the center abs engaged. So start going. You can have feet a little bit wider apart. That makes the exercise a little bit easier. You can have a larger range of motion, but if having your legs apart is a little harder for you, keep your legs together and you can just do slight tilts to the side. And again, keeping a hand on your stomach if that helps you keep that awareness of keeping it sucked inwards. It definitely helps me a lot. So you'll see me holding my stomach in a lot of exercises to ensure I have that engagement. One more, and we're going to switch sides. Five more seconds. Last one. Okay, and now what we'll be doing is knee pulls. So to modify this, you might just be barely lifting your knee up like this. Maybe this is enough for you. Maybe you engage your stomach, and after up to this point of the workout, we're halfway through. Just so you know, we're halfway done. This is enough for you, just lifting it a little bit. However, if you can do the full thing, the full exercise is lift up, squeeze, up, squeeze. And like I mentioned earlier in the intro, alternating knees makes any exercise harder because you're constantly changing which muscles are working. So you might just be doing one leg at a time, or you might do like 3 on one side and 3 on the other side. Or you might just be marching and pulling. It's about controlled movements. This is not running, not in a race. Right, if you made it this far, you can skip ahead 5 minutes to the cool down, or you can just take a break, sit it out. But if you're ready to do your upper back, you can grab weights if you have them. You can have resistance bands. If you have a band, you can step on it with both feet and hold it in your hands. Otherwise, we're just doing nothing, because really having that ab engagement while you're doing the range of motion is a workout of its own. So what you're doing is you're standing, I'll be about hip distance apart like this, slightly more. Sit back a little bit, lean forward, and just going to pull back like a row. So if you have weights, this is a great time to have weights. You can make it a little harder by leaning forward and squatting more. If I am in this position, I lose the tightness in my stomach. I lose that. It just feels like I cannot feel my ab engagement anymore. So I would straighten up again, let my breath out, engage, and then I can even do it from here, from standing up, because as I lean forward, it gets a little bit harder. So you might just be here with me. You might be over here. You need to do this for 10 more seconds. Five more. Okay, now we're going to be doing the opposite, similar exercise, but instead of bent arms going backwards, we're going outwards. So engage in, a little further than the hip distance apart, squat down. You have them together in front of you, and we're going like this. If you have a resistance band, you can hold it between your 2 hands, but chances are you are starting off here right with me. To modify this, you can just be standing up straight, so you have that engagement, and you might just be doing this, or you might just be standing there with your legs apart and your arms in front of you, because as you move your arms further away from your body, it might be harder to hold that. Five more seconds. Great. Now what we're doing is a wall push-up. So you're going to eventually get to a full push-up, but that is one of the hardest exercises to do if you're trying to keep your abs engaged, because you have to suck it in, hold it in as you're going against gravity and using your full body strength to hold yourself up. So find a wall near you. I have one right here, it's a little strip. And what you might start off doing is just holding the wall while having the engagement, because that lean forward is enough for you to feel the workout. Or you might be able to step back a little bit and have a little bit of an incline. So just this is enough. You might just have the resistance of holding yourself up while keeping your stomach engaged. But if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, we're going to start doing push-ups in 10 seconds. So just take a little break here, take a little breather. Make sure you can let loose your stomach, engage, and we're going to do a minute. So again, this is not a speed contest, because you are working out your ab muscles and holding in your core. So as you lean forward in the push-up, you are leaning further, closer, like you're leaning closer to the ground, which makes it a little harder to hold. We're halfway there. Remember, if you're losing it, you can stop, loose your arms, roll back your shoulders, re-engage. and keep going. Yeah, 15 more seconds. But as long as you can, maybe you're just standing here and you're just barely bending your elbows, because that is enough for you, just that little bit of muscle work. Or you might be doing full wall push-up. Let's do one more. Okay. Now, last exercise. If you have a resistance band, you want to step on it on one foot, and the same side you're going to lift up your hand, and we're going to be lifting up our shoulders. So it just looks like this, like if you're shrugging your shoulder up and down. So this is a little bit of a lighter exercise. This is more arm focused, not so much upper back, although you are working out your upper back. But really it's meant to give you a little bit of a break and also stretch the upper muscles over here. So we're going to be doing one arm at a time. You can let your other arm rest. I'm starting on the right side. And you might notice that even this is more difficult than it looks, because you start to lose your the tightness in your core. So just see if you can re-engage. Keep going. 5 more seconds. And then switch to the other side. I lost my timer. Can I have a hand on your stomach again? Five more seconds. Right, and we're done. So if you're looking for a little bit more of a workout, you can rewind back and start at about the 5-minute mark and just do all of these straight through one more time. Otherwise, let's get right into the cool down. So first thing you want to do, get on the floor. And we're doing a side lunge. So we're stretching out all the muscles that we were using and just focusing on just a full core and glute stretch. So this stretches out your butt a little bit. So you want to do kind of a modified version of a side lunge, where you're just sitting on the floor. You might be sitting on your leg. You might be sitting like this if that feels better for you. Or you might just be here. Don't worry about your stomach doing. We're done working out, but you might notice that your stomach does feel a little tighter than it did at the beginning of the workout. Now hold this for another 2 seconds. Okay. And the other side. So this is stretching out your glutes, stretching out your hamstrings over here. Get a little bit of a quad stretch depending on if you point or flex your foot. You might feel different muscles stretching. If you have done yoga before, now's the time that we're going to get into pigeon pose. So from having your leg in the back, pull it behind you and just move your knee forward. You don't need to sit. I'm not expecting you really to do this. It's just about having that little bit of a stretch. So if you can't do this, maybe you're just sitting around like that. That is perfectly fine. Wherever you feel a stretch, this should be something that feels good for you. Don't worry about what your stomach's doing. It's probably just flopping out. Okay? Switch sides. Okay, you have 15 more seconds. We did a lot of leg work, so we're really focusing on stretching these legs out. Okay, 2 seconds. And now what we're doing is we're cradling our leg one on top of the other. So what you want to do is, when you're sitting in this position, you can use your hands to hold you back. Maybe all you're doing is like this, that's enough for you. Or maybe you get a full stretch like that. Where you're sitting up, you're able to pull your leg in and just really get that stretch on the side of whatever leg is up. And to hold this for another few seconds. Again, this is your cool down. Don't worry about posture. Don't worry about your stomach. You can always straighten up a little bit. It's really just what feels good for you. Okay, switch sides. Maybe one side is more flexible than the other. Maybe this feels better. Maybe on this side, this feels better. Another alternative to what you can do. You never lay down like this, right? No jackknife movements. You can go from the side and you could put one leg over your thigh. Put the other leg over the other thigh. You can make it more of a stretch by pulling in. Not too much. All right, we're not doing all these crazy things just yet. And then we do child's pose. So here you can really just relax. We're going to count to 20 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Hope you really got to sink into the floor. Maybe put your legs a little further apart. Just really relax and stretch out your back. Slowly make your way up. You want to arch your back ever so slowly. You don't really want to stretch out the muscles too much, although we were contracting them a lot. You don't want to be doing, big back bends right now. You don't want to make your, you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to make your ab separation worse. We're just doing the slightest back bend, just like that. And then get up slowly. Take a deep breath out. Let your stomach hang. And then just you hang. Maybe move your head a little bit side to side. Stretch out your lower back. And we are done. I hope you enjoyed the second workout.